Hello. So today we are going to discuss about managing conflicts and solving problems within a team. So obviously you might have heard about conflicts, you might have learnt about conflicts before in hand, but here specifically we will discuss what are the key things to be considered when there are conflicts in a team. So when it comes to the learning outcomes, you will define what a team conflict is and then about the source of team conflicts, type of team conflicts and the techniques to resolve conflicts in a team. So we all know anyone in a team has to deal with conflicts because we have different people who have come from different backgrounds, different ways, more diversity. So because of that, in a team, we deal with conflicts. ඕනම කණ්ඩායමක ඉන්න පුද්ගලයෝ විවිධ නිසා, attitudes විවිධයි, behaviors විවිධයි, there are conflicts. So this is really normal but it's essential because conflicts are essential, functional conflicts. But if it's a dysfunctional conflict, that means it destroys the team, destroy the purpose of the team. So that kind of conflicts are not welcomed, not good. But there are some kind of conflicts, essential conflicts or functional conflicts. These are essential dynamics of a team and teamwork because this presupposes divergent ideas, opinions, proposals regarding the best course of opinion or course of action, and then the methods to solve a problem. Those type of stuff create conflicts. Different attitudes, ඔය ප්‍රශ්න ඔය විදිහට නෙමෙයි විසඳන්නේ මේකයි කියලා හැමෝම එකකට agree වෙන්න. So it creates conflicts, okay? But it's good because you openly communicate, you share ideas, you see how people behave in different perspectives. So because of that, team should not try to avoid or like to eliminate conflicts because we need conflicts to have that kind of open discussion, open forum to discuss, to solve a common problem because a team is to achieve at the end of the day a common target. So this diversity or this divergent ideas, opinions, proposals, everything has to be viewed as a healthy and essential thing to work out a constructive win-win solution to the problem at the end. Okay, so the may ekek vivid adahas, it's really, we have to view it as essential. Ayo mahakaradadak, it's really bad. If you have a total negative attitude about it conflict, then you won't get the maximum from good conflicts, like functional conflicts. Because of that, what you have to do is you have to view these conflicts as essential and healthy stuff that will lead the team to a win-win solution, and you should not try to eliminate them. If you feel, if as a leader or as a team, if you feel that kind of a conflict may be dysfunctional, then it's okay to avoid, but still having that kind of open, divergent, different diversity, diverse ideas and all will lead you to a win-win solution. So conflict, you know what is a conflict? It's a condition that arises when incompatible desires clash. එකිනෙකාගේ විවිධ අදහස් clash වෙනකොට තමයි මේ conflict එකක් ඇති වෙන්නේ. So it occurs when two or more parties realize that what each wants or values is incompatible with what other wants and values. ඒ කියන්නේ ඔයා value කරන දේට වඩා මං value කරන දේ වෙනස් නම් it's a conflict. ඔයාට ඕන දේට වඩා මට අවශ්‍ය දේ වෙනස් නම් it's a conflict. That's what it says. Okay, so the challenge is to encourage diversity without encouraging personal conflicts. This is where this dysfunctional conflict arises when you make this team conflict or diversity and you view it as a personal conflict. That is where it goes as a dysfunctional conflict, and sometimes it disperses the team. It like sometimes destroy the whole team and the purpose of the team. So there we need a collaborative leader who understands the team members and who make the teams to understand this kind of diversity, divergent ideas, opinions, and everything is valuable to go for a win-win solution. So as we all know, conflicts, differences, disagreements. So this tends to generate images of anger, fighting, and other negative thoughts that leave are painful for people. So this is very common at workplace, and it's a natural result of people working together because of personal factors, values, social factors, and everything. This is unavoidable thing at the workplace, in teams, in life, and all. At the end of the day, it creates fighting and some bad feelings in your heart. So that's where this conflict resolution is really important. So there is a traditional view on conflict where a workplace without any conflict is assumed to be happy and productive. Okay, so people in traditionally believes that without conflicts means it's the best thing. Okay, so it's the lack of openness and trust between workers and management, because whenever there is an argument or a conflict, that people can go for an open discussion and can discuss their own views. Like owner they kata karana pura. Whenever there is an issue arising, whenever there's a conflict, whenever there is a disagreement or a difference, people can openly discuss about the problem and go for a win-win solution with divergent ideas. But what the things was previously think of, if there is a differences and all, just don't talk, stop, because it will create conflicts and that will destroy the happiness around the world, around the workplace. So what happens is it's the lack of openness, because people don't open. ප්‍රශ්නයක් තියෙනකොට එහෙම weave එකක් තියෙනකොට people don't open up themselves. So that creates the lack of trust between the workers and management. Right? Management එක trust කරන්නේ නැති නිසා තමයි open කතා කරන්නේ නැත්තේ. Okay, so that's why this conflict was regarded as dysfunctional, destructive, and irrational. That means dysfunctional means it creates like not behaving normally or working normally, and like it creates the reduction of performance and all. It's dysfunction. Destructive means it's create a great and irreparable damage. ඒ කොන්ෆ්ලික්ට් එකෙන් පස්සේ ඇතිවෙන තරහ වේදනාවත් එක්ක ඇතිවෙන ඉමේජ් එක හරිම නරකයි, ඒක මකලා දාමන්න බැරි බව. And irrational, it's like if you describe someone's feelings and behaviors as irrational, means that they're not based on logical things. They don't have clear thinking. So the traditional view is where conflict එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ it's destruction එක dysfunctional, so it's irrational. ඒක කිසිම logical එකක් නෙවෙයි කියලා තමයි traditionally people weave about conflicts. But there was another thing comes as interactionist weave. It's like the belief that conflict is not only a positive force in a group, but also an absolute necessary for a group to perform effectively. Traditional weave එකේදී conflict එපා, it's bad කියලා අයිම කරලා දානවා. But interactionist weave එකේදී they say that these conflicts are okay. It is a positive force in a group, because whenever there is a conflict, when people speak, they will openly speak about what they want and their views, personal views, their perception. It makes people open, and it creates a trust. දැනගෙන හිටපු නැති දේවල් දැනගන්නවා. So then because of that, interactionist weave shows that conflict is an absolute necessary for a group to perform effectively. හොඳට perform කරන්න නම් conflict is a necessity to a team. So conflict, there are types, as I told you from the beginning: functional conflict and dysfunctional conflict. So functional conflict is supports the goal of the group. It improves the performance. For an example, employee of the month competition. Obviously, it's a competition conflict in between members. ඒකෙදි ගහගන්නේ නැහැ, තරහ වෙන්නේ නැහැ, මොකුත් නැහැ. ඒකෙදි වෙන්නේ එහෙම පොඩි conflict එකක්, පොඩි competition එකක් තියෙනකොට people start performing well. Dysfunctional conflict means it hinders the group performance. That means it usually arises of, as I told you, it's about personal conflicts, okay? Arises out of egos of people with competing ambitions. So higher degree of stress and employee burnout are the usual outcomes. So employee will always also like to feel less satisfaction and less loyalty to the organization. So that's why dysfunctional conflicts hinders the group performance, because it's mostly associated with ego of people. So this, as I told you, conflicts are very common. That means team conflicts are very common. So it may hinder the group performance, and also it may supports the achievement of team goals. They can conflicts with functional වෙන්නත් පුළුවන්, dysfunctional වෙන්නත් පුළුවන්. So if management of conflict is not effective, that means resolution හොඳට කළේ නැත්නම්, conflict manage කරේ නැත්නම් හරියට, can totally disrupt the entire group process. But successfully managed කරොත්, it will be benefit to the group or the team. So there are 4 types of conflicts in teams: task conflict, relationship conflict, process conflict, and values conflict. There are so many weaves about these types of conflicts, but this is the basic stuff that we can find in the internet. So the task conflict, it relates to the content and the goal of the work. ඒ කියන්නේ ඔයාගේ කාර්ය ගැන, task එක ගැන මොන හරි argument එකක්, disagreements යනවා නම් it's a task conflict. Relationship conflict means it's about interpersonal relationships, like about the values, about the attitudes of people. Process conflict means it's a conflict about how the work gets done. කොයි විදියට නෙමෙයි යන්නේ කරන්නේ, මේ විදියට. Likewise, the process. The values, it's also when co-workers experiences differences in lifestyle, values, and identities. We can say it's a relationship conflict, or we can say it as a separate value conflict. If I give an example for task conflict, like there is a person an older employee, and there is a younger employee. Okay, so these people experience a task conflict at their company. It's a marketing company. When they each perform like a campaign management task, they both has to, a younger one and an older one, they have to perform a joint project. So the younger one, if we say it's Sarah, and the elder one is Marcus. Sarah, she approaches everything with lots of preparation. Okay, since it's younger and all. But the elder one, he prefers to spend less time in preparing, but to complete the task, he prefers to give much more time in completing the task. But Sarah wants to spend some kind of little bit more time in preparation, because she believes that doing much more preparation makes the things better. So මේ දෙක අතර දෙන්නගේ පොඩි conflict එකක් යනවා. Okay, so this leads to like the conflict, because Sarah feels that Marcus has lack of preparation that impacts the quality of their work. And Sarah's approach is disagreed by Marcus, because Marcus said rather preparing, it's better to work on the thing. So එතකොට task එක ගැන දෙන්නගෙම පොඩි disagreements නිසා conflict එකක් එනවා. For this, the solution is where These both can start a meeting or discuss about the perspectives of the problem, and each of them can listen to each other and fully understand each other's perspective, what Sarah wants and what Marcus wants. Marcus can open about discussing the Sarah's quality of work, and they can design the list of specific things to be done to work the things better. Okay, so දෙන්නම හොඳට කතා කරලා මොනවාද ලිස්ට් එකක් හදලා tension situation එක අඩු කරගන්න පුළුවන්. Okay, so in this process conflicts, task එක ගැන process, teammates might disagree whether a decision will be made of by group consensus or a single individual. Process එක මේ වැඩේ කරන විදිය ගැන agree වෙන්නේ මුළු team එකම එකතු වෙලාද නැත්නම් leader කියන දේ විතරක්ද? Okay, එහෙම නැතිනම් වෙන්න පුළුවන් one teammate might want to play hard, giving a tough time with a client, and another want to compromise. ඒ කියන්නේ මොන හරි client කෙනෙක් කෙනවා, එක්කෙනෙක් කියනවා client එක්ක agree වෙන්න ඕනේ නෑ කියලා. එක්කෙනෙක් කියනවා නෑ නෑ අපි යත් එක්ක compromise කරමුකෝ. ඒතර ඔය කියන process එක මොන හරි වැඩක් වෙන process එක ගැන එන conflicts. Okay, this value conflicts, or this can be like about the religion, because teammates can hold different beliefs, religious beliefs can create clashes, political differences, political ethics, then about social norms like about hygiene, dress, about the timeliness, like the attitude to time. Likewise, those can create about a value conflict. So these are the types of conflicts that we can see in an organization. Okay, so when it comes to the sources of conflicts, so we can say it's incompatible goals and time horizons, overlapping authority, task interdependencies, incompatible evaluation or reward systems, status inconsistencies, and scarce resources. If I give you an example about incompatible goals, it's like sometimes conflict arises when two parties think that their goals are mutually exclusive. Within an organization, these incompatible goals often arise because of these different ways department managers are compensated. For an example, like a sales manager's bonus may be tied to how many sales are made for the company. Okay, so then what the people believes is the different departments have different goals, and they believe that like about the goals are mutually exclusive, then the conflicts can arise. About the overlapping authority, that means two or more managers claim authority for the same activity. That will lead to a conflict in between those managers. Scarce resources, like managers can come into conflicts over allocation of scarce resources, might be monetary, might be infrastructure, can be anything. Then task interdependencies, that means one member of a group fails to finish a task. Because of that, another member cannot continue the task, depend. Okay, so that team member has to wait until the other team member finishes. So that kind of task interdependence can create a conflict. Then different evaluation systems. A group is rewarded for achieving a goal, but another interdependent group is rewarded for achieving goal that conflicts with the first group. Okay, the way in which interdependent groups, teams, or departments are evaluated or rewarded can be another source of conflict. අපේ team performance වලටනේ දීලා තියෙන. අර team එකට නම් individually දීලා තියෙනවා. So different incompatible evaluation systems that will create conflicts within the teams also. Then status inconsistencies, like some individuals and like groups have higher organizational status than others, and some teams have a lower status. So these higher status groups and lower status groups can have conflicts. Okay, අපේ team එක තමයි මෙතන ඉන්නේ. ඔයගලන්ට වඩා අපේ team එක ටිකක් ලොකුයි. We have recognition. There are these type of stuff in organizations. So because of that, these status inconsistencies also can create issues in teams, within teams. So there are primary strategies for managing conflicts. This is very famous and everyone knows this. So avoiding, leave well enough alone. That means withdrawing either physically or mentally from an actual or potential conflict situation. අර conflict එකක් පේනවා avoid කරනවා. නැත්නම් conflict එක actually ඉන්නවා avoid කරනවා. That means withdrawal. You don't deal with the conflict at all. You avoid confrontation and leave the other party hanging. It's a risky approach because you are doing nothing. Because you are doing nothing to make the conflict go away, but it's also a kind of a strategy where people leave, like leaving the solution to fate or chance and do not address the conflict. Okay, where why you do this is when you are uninterested or unresponsive to the other person's need and concerns, even when there is a need to take a position. එයාගේව මට අදාළම නෑ කියලා you like leaving, avoiding. Okay, so this is like oftenly labeled as agreeing to disagree. So the parties involved admit they disagree, then walk away without a solution or with no resolution. So this avoiding makes sense when you need to move, collect more information, or get more support, or to get like augment resources. This is also a good strategy when there seems little chance to resolve the differences in a satisfactory way because the timing is wrong. Your lack of power, influence, or lack of information, or from your perspective you feel that the issue is insignificant. ඔයාට පේනවා avoid යාතකොට avoid කරන එක මට වැඩක් නෑ. එමනම් you don't have much power. You don't feel that මේක හොඳ විදිහකට විසඳෙන්නේ නැති වෙයි. You feel the issue is insignificant in your perspective. So then that kind of situations people avoid the conflict. Then accommodation. This is make certain no feathers get ruffled. This is a smoothing strategy that minimizes differences by ignoring or downplaying their importance. That means concentrate only on similarities and agreement. This is require covering up actual disagreement by taking a stance that everything is pleasant, cooperative and trouble-free. Okay, so accommodation. You no feathers get ruffled. තටු පැටලෙන්නේ නැති වෙන්න ඔයා differences minimize කරලා ඔයාගේ importance එක චුට්ටක් downplay කරලා you go for similarities and they try to go for an agreement. These kind of a strategy may be productive, maybe when there is harmony, and avoiding disruption are especially important. If you feel in that kind of a situation, we need harmony. මේ ප්‍රශ්නේදී කොච්චර වුණත් අපි harmony happy harmony and avoid disruption වගේ situation එකක් නම් you can go for accommodation. When the issue is more important to others than you and you want to maintain a future collaboration, you want to have that collaboration in the future, so then you can go for accommodating. So you want to build social credits for a later time. අයියෝ අපට උදව් කරානේ ප්‍රශ්නේ විසඳ ගන්න. තරහ වුණේ නෑනේ අපිත් එක්ක. You want that social credits for the later time. And also, it's another teammate has superior power and is using it on you. You feel that, okay, that person has superior power. It's okay to go for accommodating. Okay? Then compromising. It's about splitting the difference, searching for solutions that bring only partial satisfaction to each of the different parties. Split the difference, bedala danawa. Partial satisfaction to each. Accommodation එකේදී ඔයාව චුට්ටක් පැත්තකින් තියලා එයාට දිනන්න ඉඩ දෙනවා. Here ඔයාලා දෙන්නම නිකන් පොඩි දෙන්නටම පොඩි satisfaction එකක් හම්බෙන්නේ. Fully නෙමෙයි, partial satisfaction. This is like getting something rather than risking a win-lose situation. Rather losing or rather letting others win, both agrees for half-half. Okay, so this makes sense when two parties with equal power are strongly committed to mutually exclusive goals. Both the parties are par. Accommodating වලදී මොකක්ද උනේ? අනිත් party එක power එක වැඩි. රා පොඩක් පස්ස ගහනවා ඉදිරියේදී යත් එක්ක යාළුවෙන් ඉස්සරහට benefits ගන්න බලාගෙන. Compromising වලදී වෙන්නේ both the parties are very powerful. Rather, it's equal power, very powerful වලට වඩා equal power. Then you get for partial satisfaction. This can be used for especially temporary settlements to complex issues. ලොකුවට මෙතනදී ගහගන්න ගියොත් ප්‍රශ්නෙට කොහොමත් විසඳුමක් හම්බ වෙන්නේ නැහැ because both have equal power. So because of that you go for it. හරි හරි අපි මෙතනින් කතා කරලා මේක මෙහෙම කරගමු කියලා you it's a temporary settlement for a complex issue. මොකද මෙතනදී මේක කතා කරන්න ගියොත් issue එක තවත් complex වෙනවා මිසක් issue එක resolve වෙන්නේ නැහැ. So when the goals of the parties are moderately important but not worth the effort and time required for collaboration. Collaboration එකකට ගිහිලා win-win වලට යනවට වඩා මෙතනදී මේ issue එක moderately important issue එකක් both the parties වලට. Because that's why they go for not එච්චර collaboration එකකට හැමදේම කතා බහ කරගෙන ඔයා චුට්ටක් compromise වෙලා නිකන් එහෙම යනවට collaboration එකකට යන්න තරම්ම අවශ්‍යතාවයක් නැහැ. The goal is moderately important. Okay, so to arrive at a practical or a convenient solution under time pressure, as I told you, ඔයාට time එකක් නැහැ මේක මෙච්චර කෑගගහ රණ්ඩු වෙවි ඉන්න. සහ ගොඩාක් රණ්ඩු වෙලා මට පරදින ඕනත් නැහැ. දෙන්නටමත් හොඳට power තියෙනවා. ඒ වගේ වෙලාවක you can go for compromise. Split කරලා මැදකදී agree වෙනවා. දෙගොල්ලන්ටම win වෙනවා. දෙගොල්ලන්ටම lose වෙනවා. Both these there. Then forcing. It will be done my way. Accommodating වලදී ඔයා lose වුණානේ. මෙතනදී it's a power oriented approach that involves threat, pressure or intimidation by to achieve objectives without concerning for the needs and the acceptance of others. That's what it will be done my way. Forcing often takes place an open competitive battle that produces a clear victor and a clear loser. Can be useful in emergencies when you know you are right, where unpopular actions must be implemented. Unpopular actions must be implemented, where the organization welfare at stake, when you need to protect yourself against those who take advantage of non-assertive and non-competitive behavior. Ava protect කරගන්න ඕන ලක. ඔයා යට threat කරලා pressure කරලා අවදිනනවා වෙන්න පුළුවන්. It's forcing. Then collaborating. Use the team's synergy and diversity of thought to build unity. It's an integrative approach where you get the team's synergy and diversity to build unity. This is win-win. When both sets of goals are too important to be compromised. Compromisation එකේදී උනේ ඔයාට භාගයයි ලැබුණේ. හැබැයි මෙතනදී ගොඩාක් important ඔයාට වගේ goal එක. So gaining commitment by turning concerns into an agreement. දෙගොල්ලන්ට අවශ්‍ය දේවල් වලට agree වෙනවා. මොකද දෙගොල්ලන්ටම ඒ goal එක හුඟක් වැදගත්. This is like gaining, like the merging diverse insights so to upgrade the quality of the result. දෙගොල්ලන්ගේම දෙපැත්තේ concerns අහලා දෙපැත්තටම දෙගොල්ල agree වෙලා integrate වෙලා win-win approach එකකට යනවා. This is what like when we see about these 5 conflict management strategies, okay, it's about compromise, avoiding or conflict එක අතහැරලා යනවා, lose දෙගොල්ලම පරදිනවා. Then accommodating means you give, since the other party is powerful, so you just let them win. Compromising, දෙගොල්ලන්ම equally powerful, split the difference. Then collaborating, okay, දෙගොල්ලන්ගෙම win-win එකකට යනවා, collaborating, the best solution, but හැමතැනදීම collaboration වැඩ කරන්නේ නැහැ. That's why we have 5. Forcing, okay, when you are very powerful, when you use threat and all to win. So the situational consideration is there when you are deciding what strategy is the most useful thing. මොන strategy එකද හොඳම කියලා හොයාගන්න ඔයා මොකක්ද කරන්න ඕනේ? You have to think about the issue importance, relationship importance, relative power and time constraints. You can see this situational consideration and then decide what is the most matching conflict management strategy for that situation. That means how important, like issue importance means how important is the disputed issue. මේ ප්‍රශ්නේ ඔයාට කොයිතරම් importantද? High means it's extremely important. Medium means it's somewhat. Low, that is not very important. Relationship important means how important this relationship to you. ඔයාට මේ සම්බන්ධතාවය කොයිතරම් වැදගත්ද? High means it's critical. Okay, relationship like ongoing, it's a one of a kind partnership. මට මේ relationship එක ගොඩාක් වටිනවා. That means high. Medium, somewhat. Low, like one time transaction for which many alternatives. ඔයා මට හිටියත් එක නැතත් එකයි ඔය වගේ යාළුවෝ ඕන තරම් හොයාගන්න පුළුවන්. That means that relationship is not important. Then relative power. What is the relative level of power authority between these disputants? ඒ කියන්නේ conflict එක ඇති වෙන දෙගොල්ලන් අතරේ කොච්චර relative level of power තියෙනවද? High means it's like boss to subordinate. High power එකක් ඔයාට තියෙනවා කියලා කියනවා boss. අනිත් එක්කෙනා subordinate. අනිත් එක්කෙනාට high නම් එයාට high power. දැන් අපි මෙතනදී බලන්නේ situation එක equal කියලා කියන්නේ peers ලා අතර issue එක. Low කියලා කියන්නේ subordinate to boss. Okay? Then time constraint. The extent time is the constraint is resolving the dispute. Dispute එක solution එකකට දෙන්න කොච්චර වෙලාවක් යනවද? High means must resolve the dispute quickly. දැම්ම මේක විසඳ ගන්න ඕනේ. Medium. Time is an issue but not pressing. Time එක issue එකක් තමයි but ලොකු pressure එකක් නැහැ, time pressure එකක්. Low means time is not a factor. වෙලාව අරගෙන ප්‍රශ්නේ විසඳ ගන්න. Okay, then if we see about the avoiding conflict management strategy, conflict avoiding කියලා කිව්වේ දෙගොල්ලන්ටම lose අතහැරලා දානවා. That means issue importance is low because the issue is not extremely important. That's why you are avoiding. Relationship importance is low. Okay, low. Okay, That means there are other ඕන තරම් ඔය වගේ යාළුවෝ හොයාගන්න පුළුවන් මට ඔයා ලොකු යාළුවෙක් නෙමෙයි. Can be ඔයා මට එක කලීක් කෙනෙක් විතරයි. Relative power is equal. දෙගොල්ලන්ගේම power is equal. That means peers. Then time constraints, medium to high. Because why? Must resolve මේක මේ වෙලාව විසඳගත්ත නැත වැඩ නැහැ. එහෙම ප්‍රශ්න තියෙන සමහර වෙලාවට conflict. Must resolve the dispute quickly. එක්ක මේකට විසඳුමක් එන්න ඕන නැත්නම් මේක විසඳුමක් නැතුව අත්හැරලා දානවා. ඒ අත්හැරලා දානවා මේක වැඩක් නැහැ ඕන නැහැ. අපිට මේ issue එක ඉච්චර ලොකුවට important නැහැ. තවත් බොරුවට මේක ගැන කතා කර කර යන්න ඕන. People say, isn't it? Okay, this is not that much important. It's aparade. We are wasting time on this. We'll avoid it. That's what. Then about accommodating. It's accommodating where what its issue importance is low. Why? Accommodating is the other party has more power. Okay. And then the relationship importance is high. One of a kind of a partnership. ඒ නිසා තමයි ඔයා අනිත් party එකට chance එක දෙන්නේ ඔයා lose වෙලා. Because the relative power is very low for you. The power for the other party is very high. Okay. And the time constraint is medium to high. Like time is an issue. Time එකත් අපිට වැදගත්. එතකොට මෙන්න මේ වගේ ප්‍රශ්නයක් situation එකක් තියෙනවා නම් issue එක ඔයාට ලොකු importance එකක් නැහැ. හැබැයි ඔයාට relationship එක matter. Issue is okay. කමන්නේ මං එකෙන් දින්නේ නැති වුණත් but the relationship matters. අනේ වගේ වෙලාවක you go for accommodating. Then compromising. That means දෙගොල්ලන්ම අර මැදකට agree වෙන වෙලාවක්. That means the issue importance is medium, somewhat important for both the parties. Relationship එකත් නිකන් somewhat important. මෙයා හිටියට කමක් නැහැ ඉස්සරහටත් මට පොඩක් කමන්නේ. But the relative power is low. දෙගොල්ලන්ගේම equal power එකක් තියෙන්නේ. Okay? Equal. And then the time constraint. It's medium to high. Still, solution එකක් ඕන. ටිකක් ඉක්මනටත් නෙවෙයි. හැබැයි ගොඩාක් drag වෙන්නත් බෑ. So that kind of a situation you can go for compromising. Then forcing. Forcing the issue importance is for you is extremely important. And the relationship is very low. මට ඔයා හිටියත් එකයි නැත්තත් එකයි low. The relative power is very high. එකයි ඔයාට පුළුවන් අනිත් එක්කෙනාට threat කරලා ඔයාට දිනන්න. You win. The other lose. It's very high and the problem has to be resolved in a moderate way. Moderate time. Then collaborative. In collaborative, දෙගොල්ලන්ටම issue එක හොඳටම important. Relationship එකත් very high important. Accommodating එකේදී ඔයාට problem එක issue එකක් නැහැ ලොකුවට but the relationship matters a lot for you. In collaboration, both is very high. Issue resolution is very high and about the relationship is very high. The relative power, it depends low, medium or high. ඕන එකක් එක එක වෙලාවල් වල තියෙන පුළුවන්. සමහරට බොස්ුයි පියයි වෙන්න පුළුවන් නැත්නම් පිය වෙන්න පුළුවන් නැත්නම් subordinate ඔයා අනිත් එක්කෙනා boss වෙන්න පුළුවන්. But still, issue is important. The relationship is important. And also this time constraint is low to medium. That means time is not a factor. Collaboration එකකට යනවා කියලා කියන්නේ little bit take time because both the parties might be power and then the issue is really important and the relationship is also ඒ සම්බන්ධය නැති කරගන්න කැමතිත් නෑ හැබැයි ප්‍රශ්නේ විසඳ ගන්නත් ඕන. So it will take much more time. Okay, so whenever there is an issue you can check this situational consideration and see what kind of a strategy mama යන්න ඕන. Then you can select what is the strategy. Is it to avoid? Is it to accommodate? Is it to compromise? Is it to force? Or is it to collaborate? So apart from that 5 conflict resolution techniques, but there are some other conflict management techniques or conflict resolution techniques that can be used by the organization, so especially with the teams. Okay, so we know that teams has a common goal. So they can have or develop superordinate goals. This is like creating a shared goal that cannot be attained without the cooperation of each of the conflicting parties. ඉතින් goal එකක් හදාගන්න තියෙන එකට වඩා ටිකක් ලොකු superordinate. What is that goal? ඒ superordinate goal එක achieve කරන්න බෑ. ඔක්කොම conflicting parties වල coordination එක cooperation එක ආවේ නැත්නම්. So as a strategy or a conflict resolution technique, you can create that kind of a superordinate goal. Expanding the supply of critical resources. That means you have to expand the supply of a scarce resource. ඒ ගැන වගේ මොන හරි conflict එකක් නම් එන්නේ, you can expand the supply. Then solving problems like meeting face to face for the purpose of identifying the problem and resolving it through an open decision. You have an issue, so to resolve the conflict, you can go and have a face-to-face conflict resolution table to discuss the problem and then have a solution with an open decision. Here also it says about avoiding, like withdrawing or suppressing the conflict, or smoothing, where like playing down differences while emphasizing common interest between the conflict parties, where you can have like the differences, identifying the differences, emphasizing the common interest, and then go for a solution. Or compromising, we know what is compromising, where we have each party to the conflict give up something of value. Win lose දෙකම තියෙනවා දෙගොල්ලන්ටම. Authoritative command, it says like letting management use its formal authority to resolve the conflict and then communicating its desire to the parties involved. දෙකම ගහ ගන්නකොට රණ්ඩු වෙනකොට management can use their own authority, and then authoritative command, then they can stop the conflict and then allow them to communicate their own desires to the parties involved and go for a solution. Or altering the human variable, because we are humans, we are the one who have problems with each other. So as a behavioral change technique, such as human relations training, to alter the attitudes and behaviors that cause conflicts. Conflict එක මනුස්සයව වෙනස් කරනවා නෙමෙයි. කියන්නේ පුද්ගලයාව replace කරනවා නෙමෙයි මේ කියන්නේ. මෙතනදී කියන්නේ human relation trainings use කරලා අපි conflict එක ඇති වෙච්ච හේතු වෙච්ච behavior එක alter කරනවා. attitude එක alter කරන්න try කරලා අපි ඒකෙන් conflict එක resolution කරනවා. අපි හිතමු one person have an attitude where he does not listen to anyone else. He says only his own view. What we can do is take that individual and give some kind of counseling or something to make that person's attitude changes. Or altering the structural variable. Here, like changing the formal organization structure and the interaction patterns on conflicting parties through job redesigning, transfers, creation of coordinating positions and anything like that, where you can do the structural changes. Then that is, if you can see, it's conflict resolution techniques. Okay, it is like conflict simulation technique. This is where the companies can use communication, okay, using ambiguous or threatening messages to increase the conflict levels. Companies use these kind of things with the interactionist view, where they believe that conflicts are needed to a group to work or to make creative outputs. Then they can use communications to increase the conflict level to get the benefits of divergent ideas. Or bringing outsiders. Here it's conflict simulate karana, okay? Bringing outsiders. People from backgrounds, different values, attitudes, or different managerial styles. So then have different divergent attitudes and all will create a innovative output from the group, or can restructure the organization, like realign the work groups, alter the rules and regulations, or increase the interdependence, and making similar structural changes to disrupt the status quo. That means creating a change. Or can appoint a devil's advocate. Here, this devil's advocate, you know who is that? It's like a person who critique the things purposefully to argue against the majority's positions held by the groups. He always criticize something, argues things. This, because of this devil's advocate, others will started giving up their opinions. ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ දේවල් කියන්න try කරනවා. Open communication නැති team එකක we can use a devil advocate to make the others speak. Okay, so those are conflict simulation techniques. Another thing, I told you there are several stuff, several strategies, several techniques available around the world by different authors, different scholars, and different practitioners to use to resolve conflicts. So another thing is there, like the 6-step procedure to deal with conflicts in teams. The first thing is to listen. We are to understand the problem. Problem එක understand කරගන්න, you have to listen. Then try to understand the other's point of view. අනිත් කෙනාගේ point of view එක perception එක understand කරගන්නේ නැතුව it's really hard for you to answer those questions. So this listening make you to understand and verify what the problem is. Then show a concern for the relationship. We discussed this relationship matters in the 5 conflict resolution techniques or conflict management techniques there, about the importance of the relationship. Focus on the problem, not the person. අපිට person ගේ attitudes වැඩක් නැහැ. We are going to resolve a problem. Okay, show that he cared about the willingness, cared about the persons, and that you need to resolve the problem rather attacking the individual. Then look for the common ground. Identify the both sides' interest and then see what you have in common and use that commonalities to resolve the problem. Then invent new problem solving options, like you can go for brainstorming, open discussions to get some new suggestions, to come up with innovative solutions. Then reach an argument on what's fair. That means find a middle ground where what's fair and choose the best options to get for a possible solution where both the parties win, at least up to a certain point. Okay, so these are the conflict management, conflict resolution, conflict simulation techniques. You can find it, you can see the situation, you can see the problem and use it, and where the techniques applicable. So that is the end of conflict managing or conflict management in teams. Thank you.